That Facebook event's just going to be sitting there all day.
Do you see what I titled it? We're getting all the Twitter engagements.
What's the title?
Good
Was
job,
Jaylen
Jack.
Brown's,
Yeah, we're going to have a bunch of people from Twitter on here.
You can see it at the top left of the screen, Bobby, probably. You see the title?
Yeah.
In the StreamYard room. It's up top left by the StreamYard logo.
Oh, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
There, yep. Love to see it.
We are here. Chat should be in shortly. Throw the names on the screen. All right.
Wait to hear from everyone. I'm sure they
can do the intro.
Things to say.
All righty. Love it. Y'all ready? I'll do the intro. We can do this so I can have a place to record and cut.
Hell yeah.
All right. And we are back with another edition of Talkin C's with Bobby Krivitsky of SI Media Group. Bobby, how are you doing today?
Doing fantastic. Had some successful prop bets with Super Bowl Sunday. So, it wasn't the outcome that Patriots fans wanted to see, but Mahomes is undeniable. So shout out to him and the Chiefs.
I hate the Patriots fans, and I hate betting.
It was tough.
They get annoyed real fast. You say you hate me? Is that what I heard?
No, I said a different night betting than you had.
Oh, my apologies.
No, I would never say
something. So I didn't really care who won, to be perfectly honest. Like, I leaned on the side of don't want Pat Mahomes to catch Brady because my dad explained that logic to me. I was like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. But like, the Niners are also a favorite, and I like rooting for the underdog, so I'm like, whatever. But all my buddies bet the Niners. So I said, you know what, I'll ride with y'all, and I bet a lot of money on the Niners. It didn't go through, and so it was a bad night.
Never trust Kyle Shanahan, and never trust Brock Purdy.
Evidently so. It was bad. The highlight of my night, however, was on like one of the plays. I just kept betting Pat Mahomes to get sacked, and it was in the first half when they just kept sacking him. I was like,
that sounds like you betting, yeah.
That's
rack it up. Anyways, we can get into actual Celtics talk, and we'll start with what Timo is already talking about in the chat because it is the title of this live stream. We are live, by the way, in case you're wondering. It's on the YouTube channel later as well. But if you caught the live, hello, welcome in, hello Timo. Jaylen Brown's play against Duncan Robinson. I can pull up the video, actually. That would probably be smart. I should have had that beforehand. If you watch the Celtics-Heat game, you might have seen Jaylen Brown versus Duncan Robinson in a WWE match on the sideline. Duncan Robinson had his arm entangled with Jaylen Brown, and a foul was called on Duncan Robinson. And then Jaylen Brown flung him into the stands. And if you're saying, well, don't say it like that, I don't know how else I'm supposed to say it because that's what happened. This is the play. You can see it on the screen here. Jaylen flung him with his arm caught under him into the stands. And yeah, there's been a lot of discourse on Twitter. Was this a dirty play? Did he, intentionally try to injure Duncan Robinson? All this stuff. Hello, Hero. And we can talk about that as well as in comparison to the KP versus Bam Adebayo thing. I'll let Bobby start it off, but the chat clearly thinks it wasn't a dirty play, which go ahead, Bobby.
So I think that it is a dirty play, all lowercase letters, where he was pissed and you understand the frustration. And then you can see, phrase it however you want, forcefully dislodged his arm, put it however you want. The way that he did that with the turn, that's a dirty play right there. It's not the worst act ever by any means or anything overly serious, but it wasn't clean, put it that way. I don't know how you could argue that. And so also you understand, and I think a factor built into it is the well-deserved reputation of the Miami Heat. I don't think it was just that one singular play. Guys are draped on your arm all the time. But when it's Miami, I mean, look, even within this game, Bam Adebayo got a nice handful of Kristaps Porzingis' nether regions. And when they went to Miami the last time, a play that doesn't get talked about is when Jason Tatum went up for a layup in the first half on the fast break, and Caleb Martin lightly had his hands on Tatum's back. Dirty play. We all know, I had people tweeting me up a storm about specifically what happened with Rondo and Dwayne Wade in the playoffs a while back. And so the Miami Heat, I mean, Kyle Lowry did some shady things last year in the playoffs. And so this is a team that is very physical, that likes to muck up the game and throw you off kilter and does things that will cross the line. And so when you're going up against a team like that and you have a situation like the one between Jaylen Brown and Duncan Robinson, you're going to respond. And so what I loved more than anything is both Jaylen Brown and Kristaps Porzingis post-game talking about the situation, and Jaylen Brown saying, you need to protect yourself and stand your ground and own your space. And Kristaps Porzingis saying, look, we need to play with a fire in those moments, but we also have to stay poised because that's their game. They need to do stuff like that and get us to react, to take away from our focus. And he didn't say this part, but the reason for it is the Celtics are more talented than Miami. And so you always have to keep that in mind in the heat of those moments, no pun intended.
Keep the pun and one on Bobby's take with the pun. I like that. In terms of was it dirty, Bobby, according to our title, says no, because we do have capitals in the title. He said all lowercase on the dirty play. Do I think it was a dirty play? I kind of agree with Bobby where it's a dirty sequence, it's a dirty play, but I don't think Jaylen's out there actively looking to hurt people. It was a heat of the moment. Please get off of me without the please. And it looked real bad on camera. And it looked bad in the press conference when he was like, hey, he won't do it again now, will he? In terms of the crying, now, this is the most important part of all of this. Power rankings of who should be able to cry about this game in general, we'll say, okay? Because there was controversy with the Bam thing, too. Duncan Robinson, his Heat teammates, Heat fans, Celtics fans way down here. Like, just no crying allowed from the fan base today. People are getting really, really upset about Jaylen even being on, like, this, like, microscope today. People are like, was it a dirty play? Shouldn't even be talked about as a dirty play. Not Jaylen. Oliver Fox of Celtics blog wrote up a whole breakdown of the thing, and he was really not happy with how it went with Jaylen yesterday. And people in the comments were going at him hard. So the fan base in general is very pro this play. On Reddit, the clip of it, not the clip, I'm sorry, the quote from him after the game had a ton of upvotes. Everybody's like, yeah, like, good for him. But, like, if the roles were reversed, everybody would be crying about this forever. Duncan Robinson would forever be a dirty player. For the next 2 weeks, all we would hear about is how, is Jaylen the same after Duncan Robinson did a little arm drag on him? Like, this fan base is crazy. You know how I know that? Is because Porzingis got sack tapped yesterday, and all people have done is cry about it. The clip of Bam, the alternate angle, him driving, came from Nate on Twitter, and it has like 430,000 views.
And
like,
me, but that's
everybody's talking about it. What did you say?
I said I tweeted it too.
His was higher quality. I don't know what to tell you.
All right, buddy. My thing is, I think multiple things can be true. I think the Heat can play in the gray area of dirty all the time. I think Duncan Robinson can be trying to get under Jaylen Brown's skin by putting his arm in there and getting around him. And I think JB can fight fire with fire and do a dirty play and fling him into the stands. Like, it was objectively a dirty play. Like Sam said, if that was
game.
Yeah, exactly. But that doesn't take away from the fact that it was a dirty play. I don't think he intended to hurt Duncan Robinson. This wasn't Draymond punching Jordan Poole. This wasn't Draymond kicking Steven Adams in the nuts. He is like trying to hurt somebody when he does that. I don't think Jaylen was trying to hurt him. I think he was trying to get him off him, but he knew what he was doing. He knew where his arm was. He knew what was going to happen. It was just, there was a lot of adrenaline going on. So I think if that was Jimmy Butler flinging Jason Tatum, riots in the streets. Everyone would be so angry. Everyone would be like beyond mad forever and ever and ever. They'd want,
why is he not getting suspended? Yeah, exactly.
They'd want fines. They'd want everything. Duncan also flopped Timo. He got flung into the stands. Maybe he did, but he still got his arm bent backwards into the stands by a guy who was, let's be honest here,
in that situation,
10 times stronger than he is.
In that situation, and the strength difference definitely a factor. In that situation, you are legitimately worried about your shoulder. You can say, oh, stop it, that's so dramatic and whatever. But when you get tangled up like that and it gets torn in a direction that it's not supposed to go in, even if it doesn't really hurt afterwards, there's a shock in the moment that you're kind of worried for a split second about your shoulder.
Yeah, it's like
100%.
Like people knowing how to fall and all that stuff. Like, Embiid talking about like he hits the ground a lot because it's less pressure on your body. That kind of thing could go through Duncan Robinson's head. So he's like, maybe I'll just go down and go with it instead of putting up extra force to resist it. And then my muscles or ligaments or whatever get overworked and get injured. The final point I wanted to make in this, and I forgot about it the first go round. This is not Marcus Smart diving for a loose ball and clipping Steph Curry and then Steve Kerr going up and crying about it because he cries about everything. This is a deliberate action that was not a basketball move or had anything to do with the basketball game. That was done, could have injured somebody, and the Heat players would complain about it as any team would complain about it. That's
Rightfully
just how
so.
it would go.
Yeah.
Do I hate what Jaylen said after the game? Not really. Kind of think it's funny. Like he kind of like had fun with it.
I will
It's
say
fine.
though, him saying he won't do it again is basically him admitting, yeah, it was a dirty play. Yeah, I
Yeah.
flung him into the stands,
exactly.
right?
But like nobody's talking about the first part of that, which was maybe if he actually played defense, that wouldn't even happen. Like if you just
Sure.
learned how to play defense, buddy, you wouldn't have to get flung across the room. Just
And
play
this is,
defense for
like,
real.
The
If Celtics
Heat are
fans
handsy.
listen-
They're
yeah.
physical. They're always on you.
Fanbase is gonna love
They
that.
swipe and they look to hit your hand and the ball. I mean, this is how they play. They push the envelope and they're not going to hesitate to go over it at times.
Also, I'll also get to say this. And this isn't directed at you, Timo. I'm just using your quotes as like an example. Him playing handsy defense and saying I won't do that again is very ironic after the defense Jaylen played on Bam, because he was slapping the crap out of Bam.
Yeah,
Like, let's
physical.
be honest here.
And
That
we're
is
all
the most
championing it
ironic
'cause it was
thing I've
awesome.
ever seen. Exactly. So it is a little ironic there too. But everyone is comparing this to, well, why isn't anybody talking about Bam Adebayo and Kristaps Porzingis? So I pulled up that angle as well. Excuse me, angle from the top of the key here. Jaylen drives on Kristaps. Kristaps clearly fouls him.
I mean,
So,
look at-
and then
that's
everyone's talking about this.
That's
My-
2 scoops at friendlies.
My thing is, I think initially Bam was just trying to get his hand back up to the ball, like he's doing the like off arm thing and then the swing up. It just Kristaps fouls him and gets into him, and I saw a lot of people getting mad. Where do you see the foul on Kristaps? I mean, he cuts off his drive and bumps. That's a foul. And his leg, like Bam was going up or was going to go up into that place if he was there or not. Did he give him a little extra? Absolutely. He gave him the old, scoop. He's like, we're in an ice cream parlor here. But I don't think he was going into that play saying, oh, I'm going to hit KP in the nuts here. So I think it is different because this is in this flow of the game basketball. I don't think he
It's
went
there.
into this
You
with the
can see
intent.
the arm, then there's an effort to bring it up at the end.
Mhm.
That's the right there.
Yeah, no. He gave it a little extra. He absolutely gave it a little extra. But
exactly.
I think the difference between this play and the Jaylen play was he didn't go into this play saying, oh, I'm going to hurt him in the nuts. I think he definitely pushed that gray area a little bit when he gave him a little up. But Jaylen, when that happened, the play was dead. And he said, you know what? F this guy. Bang. See you later. So I don't know. I think it's different, but curious to know y'all's
On a
thoughts.
random note, fair or foul, the guy in the white long sleeve t-shirt looks like Andre Agassi. It might not be, but it
I
looks
don't know who that is.
It's a tennis player. He does a little bit.
I think he looks
We'll
like
see.
Pep.
He
Man
does.
City
He does look like
manager.
Andre. Pep also does look like Andre Agassi.
Okay.
doppelganger.
He looks more like Pep. I'll give this one to Sam. So review. This is Pep.
I despise
Yeah,
Pep.
I can
This is
co-sign
Pep.
that.
He's very
This is
handsome,
Andre
but I
Agassi.
still despise him.
So I'll give it to both of you. But
I can
thoughts
co-sign
on the
that more like
JB
Pep than Agassi.
JB play versus KP play.
Oh,
Thoughts on
JB.
the difference? I don't know. I think, like you said there, it started with Bam as a basketball play, and his arm just happened to end up there. But then there is that extra swipe to go a little further up, and so it becomes a play that crosses the threshold of what can be excused and what again becomes a bit of a all lowercase dirty play. So different, and not deliberate, but it did happen and it did go over a line, so to speak.
Yeah, I think Jaylen's was worse. I don't really think either of these is the absolute worst. I think Jaylen's could have been very dangerous, but it's not. So we all like understand it was not the greatest. We've watched Jaylen play basketball for years and years and years, and we haven't seen him do anything like this. So this isn't like a serial thing. It's, hey, you upset me. You didn't play real defense. Get taught. You're learning a lesson, buddy.
I mean, guys also hang on someone, the guy trying to get the pass, they hang all over them all the time. So, like, in that sense,
Right.
Jaylen, he will do it again. Like,
And
he will
also,
absolutely
like,
drape himself on you as an off-ball defender.
take a look at him. I mean, he's got to do that to play defense.
I will also say, I think this is important too. If Porzingis fell there, views and Bam gets to your flagrant. And I know, Sam, you're one of the guys who always complains about falling, which rightfully so. I think it's lame. And
I don't like
think
it
people
on
should
jump
stand up.
shots.
Sure, whatever. But the point is, players aren't getting calls if they don't fall down. That's just how it works. And it's garbage. And it's just how the game is. It's if you don't fall, you're not going to get a call. And I agree with Timo. If he had fallen there, if KP went to the ground and started writhing in pain like a soccer player, he would have gotten the call. Absolutely, 100%. So I think it'd be
a flagrant one.
Whatever, 100%. But
and I'll say this though. So specifically with Jaylen and Duncan, what I care more about is the response. And yes, Miami's at home and they get a jolt from a crowd that suddenly comes alive, but they're also playing without Jimmy Butler, and prayers out to him and his family, and Terry Rozier, and Josh Richardson got hurt too. He's not that good, but he's in their rotation and they were already shorthanded. And so you would have liked to have seen the Celtics there in the immediate aftermath handle it better, but instead it was Miami that went on a run and played better for a good chunk of the preceding minutes. And so that was a bit disappointing to see. But then, to the Celtics' credit, they stabilized and they made the winning plays necessary. Porzingis tipping out the Brown missed three that Jaylen gets his own rebound. Tatum then goes to the line to ice the game. That's a huge play. And the Horford block earlier on Bam Adebayo, that's a winning play right there. So the Celtics, they did step up and do what was necessary. I also think they could have initially responded better. And that's why you hear from Porzingis to Jaylen to Joe Mazzulla talk about how, and even Al Horford said in his interview with Abby Chin, that they need these moments. And as battle tested as they are, as much as you might want to say that they shouldn't, the reality is that especially from one season to a next, you do need them. And so as many of them as possible is going to be beneficial come playoff time.
Yeah. I think the end of this game was interesting. I think, to go in chronological order and follow your points, the Jaylen play was a bad read the room moment. The Celtics were trying to pull away and ice the game. That motion, the whip, the arm drag, whatever you want to call it, cost the Celtics a possession and then resulted in a 5-point Heat possession because they got 2 free throws in the ball and then they made a 3 with their actual possession. So it's kind of tough when you're up 9 and then all of a sudden you're not. Everyone's going to remember it a bit more. As far as the Celtics as a whole and how they responded yesterday, Jack and I talked about this on the post-game recap that went up this morning. Very impressive because they didn't have everything go their way in this game down the stretch. We've seen them do a pretty good job of executing at times this year. They've been able to go to Porzingis. They've had Tatum take over for stretches. And things are very easy when the ball goes in the basket. But I don't think we've seen them win a game just by getting the stops in making the extra strides to get across the finish line. We saw that yesterday. They did a very solid job of defending Miami down the stretch. Hero caught fire in the second half. He was a real problem to deal with. They shut him down. Bam didn't do a whole lot down the stretch either. Al Horford did a really good job on him. They, despite not making shots, wrapped it up on the offensive end, like Bobby mentioned, by hustling. They got the offensive rebound that led to them icing the game. That's how you need to win as a championship team. And I think that's a lot of what people want to see from this group. Me personally, I like to know that they can win a game if they need to get stops. Because in the past, I just haven't felt that. Last year, I certainly didn't feel it in the playoffs. I never had faith in them to get a stop. You saw them lose multiple playoff games, 3 off the top of my head, where they lost at the end because they didn't get a stop. Harden game 1, Trae Young game 5, Harden game 4. It's just 3 possessions. If they just got a stop, that's 3 free wins.
Now, to be fair, Trae Young hit a 30-footer.
It's true.
So I'm with you on the overall point for sure.
There's no fair.
There's also some tipping your cap to Trae Young there.
I had no faith, and I was correct.
It shouldn't have come down to that. I think that's the bigger thing in that game specifically.
True.
But that's not history that we're trying to rehash right now.
No.
Definitely not. I thought the Heat game was good. I thought it was one of their better wins of the season. I think it was equal parts. Heat made some tough shots down the stretch for sure with Hero in them, so that was frustrating. And Celtics did make, let me rephrase, Jaylen Brown did make some mistakes at the end of that game that could have cost him. Like it was very much Jaylen Brown is either doing the best thing possible to help this team win or the worst thing to make them lose. It was an offensive rebound that helped them seal the game, 2 missed free throws, or drawing a foul, or grabbing an offensive, like there was no in between. It was either Jaylen is impacting the game in the best way or the worst way, but it worked out in the end. And I think the good outweighed the bad. But it was a good win. Jason Tatum played great. He attacked the paint at an elite level. Kristaps attacked mismatches, like Sam says, like he was playing on a Nerf hoop. Drew Holiday made all the shots. He was great. Derek White, for the lack of impact offensively he had in this game, which was there. He was solid on defense all night long, which is just what he does. And so I thought it was a great team win. I thought it was proof that they can beat a good team. And I haven't seen it anywhere, but I have to imagine Heat fans are saying, well, just imagine when we have Jimmy and we have this, like, good for you. But
they
if you were going
about
to be
2 weeks, just a little over 2 weeks ago, and got smacked. And I was more impressed by that performance from the Celtics. Although, again, to have these when the intensity amplifies, you're on the road against that particular franchise as well. I thought this was a reminder for any Celtics fans who are pouring dirt on this iteration of the Miami Heat. You just can't discount them come playoff time. Now, if Terry Rozier, if he's out for the season, that's a massive blow for them. It's after the deadline. Buyout markets historically don't move the needle anywhere close to what they were anticipating getting out of him. So that's certainly a blow. But this is a team that, even when they don't look particularly impressive on paper, has given teams fits and upset teams way above them in the standings. So I would not discount the Miami Heat. I thought this was the latest reminder of that. But I'm glad the Celtics went through this. I thought there were some moments in the fourth quarter, some stretches they could have handled better. But they started to keep them off the glass after it was killing them in the second half. A number of Heroes points came on second chance threes. And so to cut that water off after already giving up 6 second chance points in the final frame, that was an important part of why they were able to put this game away.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I will also say the Rozier thing. I remember going to war with you guys when Terry Rozier signed with the Heat, and I was like, I don't know if I like it that much. I don't know if I'm in on it. And what have you guys made of Terry Rozier's thing or stint in Miami so far?
Well, it might not.
I'm just curious. Also true.
I'd still a long rant, so Sam, if you want to go first.
Stats say bad.
I
don't have an eye test because I'm not watching Heat games.
All I remember saying is I don't think the efficiency will hold because he's in a smaller role.
The efficiency, yeah. And I believe we all noted that when we did the show talking about the move. I still look at it, and I know that no one's going to agree with him and say it's his coach. It's just lip service. But Eric Spoelstra said that he felt like with Terry Rozier in the lineup, they were getting better on-ball defense from that position than they were before he arrived. And I think Miami's defense got a little bit better after Rozier's arrival, The efficiency was obviously going to drop off. It's a lot different in Charlotte than in Miami and where you are in the hierarchy. Rozier is not really known for being that guy with less touches, fewer dribbles, less shots, and maintaining that efficiency. But he is a good threat off the ball as a catch and shoot guy when, on a smaller sample size. And so I think ultimately he wasn't real. I think that the numbers weren't great overall, but that he was acclimating. And I would have been curious to see if he had this rest of the regular season, what it looked like come playoff time.
You make a good point, Bobby. I just looked to double check because my memory tells me otherwise. But Terry Rozier on the Celtics, not efficient. Terrible.
I said this.
Literally never cracked 40% from the field in the regular season. In the playoffs, that 2018 run, he was just over 40% from the field. He really was not that great. And it's funny how much he was glorified knowing what we were looking at then, I can't believe it. So him joining the Heat, I think you guys were right. Maybe it's just not the greatest to be like, take less shots,
Listen,
Terry. Put it in
I
reverse,
do
Terry.
think there's a part of it where like he's a high level ball handler at the very least. Like he can make plays. He had that super cool lob the other last night against the Celtics, or afternoon, I should say. But I think it's all a balance. He also hasn't played in the playoffs in like 5 years, so maybe that'll have an impact on him too. But
he's not ready for the bright lights. His eyes aren't adjusted anymore. It's like when you're in the dark room and you go outside or they turn on the lights. It's tough.
Very tough.
So the funny thing is that like that was a young version of Terry Rozier that couldn't. One, it was weird that he was playing point guard over Marcus Smart, and two, he couldn't really do it. Like they would go on the road and lose, and a lot of it had to do with how the offense was getting orchestrated under Rozier. But when you put him, especially now that he's older, when you put him off the ball, he's actually pretty good as a secondary creator. But again, it's a lot of adjusting when all of a sudden you're playing with Bam and Jimmy Butler and some of these guys on Miami, and you're just trying to fit in because you just got there, compared to being in Charlotte and you can kind of just do what you want.
I love him as a secret agent, sleeper cell in the Heat culture.
Let him head in there. Anyways, moving on from the Heat, Celtics have a couple games against the Nets coming up, one of which Sam and I will be live on the Celtics blog playback, the away game, so make sure to tune on in there. Which day is that? That's the 13th,
Tuesday.
Tomorrow.
We'll
be there tomorrow.
Be there no matter what.
We'll be live with Jake from First to the Floor, absolute legend. But
Snow
two
day
back-to-back
tomorrow.
games against the Nets. Is it supposed to snow?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I'm going
Big time.
That's huge. I love that. But two back-to-back games against the Nets. In their last 15, Cam Thomas has been averaging 23, as has Mikal Bridges. Nick Claxton is playing really, really well. 13 point, 11 rebound, double for him. I was listening to JJ Redick's pod with Luca the other day, and Luca went out of his way to say Nick Claxton's a guy who defends me really well. So keep an eye out for that. I suppose Nick Claxton, a good defender on the Nets. That said, in their last 15 games, they are 5-10. So it's not like they've been playing super well. This is a team that I feel like should probably be a bit better than they are this season. They have more talent than what their record shows. It's just that talent doesn't fit well together. That said, I think they will be better down the stretch moving forward because they have former Celtic Mr. Dennis Schroeder on the team now, who I think is a pretty perfect fit for them. Like he's exactly what they need at a lower level. They need a point guard who can handle the ball and organize things. And he was going on this whole thing, coming into the season saying, I want to run my own team. I want to do this, blah, blah, blah. The Nets are the team to do that. If you're a point guard in the NBA who is maybe not a superstar who wants to run their own team. And for what it's worth, as much as I didn't like Schroeder's fit on the Celtics, I think he's a perfect fit in Brooklyn. I did because
you despised him.
You can't fit a high usage ball dominant point guard on a team with Tatum and Brown. That's just not like you can't do that.
38 point game to beat the Bucks.
We've seen it time and time again fall apart ahead of the finals, and that's just not the recipe for success. But Schroeder was great on the German national team this summer. And he won FIBA, and he was really good in Toronto. And I think you put more shooting and defense around him in Brooklyn. I'm not saying they're going to win games, but I think that's like a high level play-in team. Like I think they can get the 7-8 seed at the very least. I'm saying if they had a whole season together. But Bobby, curious to know your thoughts on the Nets and the Celtics' upcoming games.
So one thing is that I would look at Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson and say, I want my team to run. And one of the reasons it didn't work with Schroeder in Boston is walking the ball up and not playing at the tempo needed to be successful. And so I'm curious to see how that fit looks, how it goes for Dennis Schroeder, the facilitator. But as a scorer with the floor space, then yeah, I think this is a good fit. It's an opportunity that he wants. So I'm with you there. He does. I mean, he's so fast. He gets into the paint consistently. And what that does, especially when he's looking to kick it out, could be really nice for Brooklyn and for Schroeder. So we'll see how it all unfolds for them and how quickly it comes together, if it does at all. And so when it comes to this upcoming matchup, I would say what I'm most interested in I just butchered that phrase, excuse me, but I wrote about this after the game against Washington Friday night, where the Celtics, and this is common around the NBA, so this is not more about them than anyone else, but like a lot of players, like a lot of teams, they're looking ahead to vacation, just as we all did, when it was getting ready, school was winding down. Maybe the last day you're just watching a movie, start looking ahead to the break. And so they have been guilty of that for sure lately. They just cranked it up in Miami. I wonder how they respond 2 games in 2 nights against the same opponent. I wonder how they respond, especially on Tuesday in Brooklyn.
Are you going to that game in Brooklyn, Bobby, or are you just going to the home game?
I will not. Just going to the home game.
All right. I was going to say it's your responsibility to remind them before the game that they should try. Because this is a home and home. They should do the double. They should beat the Nets. The Nets are not good. Jack said it. 5-10 their last 15. They've really, really skidded after the beginning of the season where they were somewhat competitive. Now they are not good. Bad. Schroeder's interesting. I always kind of liked him when he was here. I agree with Jack where he wasn't the greatest fit. I don't think he was helping them win games, but I thought he was fun to watch. I like his kind of quick movements. I don't know. I like that he modeled his game after Rondo. That's really what it was. But I remember his first preseason game here. He like really came out like hustling. He was firing all cylinders. He was a spark plug. So if he's in that mentality with the Nets, he could be a tough cover. He'll probably have a chip on his shoulder after being traded away from a team that went to the finals. And Mikal Bridges has always been a good player. I mean, the Nets last year, around this time, had that really, really bad or big comeback win for them, but bad Celtics loss at home where they were up a zillion. And then the Nets just stormed back, and it was one of Mikal Bridges' first games. So just be serious is the only key for me. Interested to see the Tatum Bridges matchup. Interested to see Claxton down low guarding the big guys. And Ben Simmons back. We didn't even talk about Ben Simmons.
I am excited for Ben Simmons too. Yeah, I've said this the same a million times. Ben Simmons is one of those guys where no matter how many times I get fooled and egg on my face, if he's back, I will think he's going to be a successful NBA player. And that's my flaw. That's my fatal flaw. I know it's going to come back to bite me, but I'm always going to think it.
It took me until the way that this season unfolded to stop being Charlie Brown, trying to kick the football, only to have Ben Simmons, Lucy, pull it away from me, and I wipe out. I was, he just, the ship has sailed on him being Philly Ben Simmons.
Listen. He's never going to be Philly Ben Simmons. I admit that. I own that. But he's been back for 5 games in their last 7. They're 3-2 in those games, and he's been a plus minus in 4 of them. I'm just saying it's possible. Anyways,
Ben Simmons is basically Grant.
Go ahead, Sam.
He is the never played on the Celtics equivalent of Grant for me, where no matter whatever misfortune that he has is always hilarious. Like, he's injured again, kind of funny. This guy never wants to play basketball. He plays poorly. Look at that. He's washed. He's not committed to the grind. He looks stupid sitting on the bench in his super cool drip. Just hilarious. I mean, just look at that picture of him dressed as a clown while Rob throws down the alley-oop dunk in the playoff game. Immortalized. That's the Ben Simmons that I think of now, not the guy in Philly that didn't want to take the super cool dunk over Trae Young.
So my favorite Ben Simmons moment from this season was not a basketball play. It was the two-handed shove on Jared Allen. So he throws him down, and Jared Allen says, well, now that I've made a fool of myself on national television, I need to go at this guy. And Ben Simmons, hands by his hips, no fear whatsoever of Jared Allen, who's 6'11", 2 whatever. He's running. He's got momentum. He gives him the shove. He barely moves him. Ben Simmons' facial expression doesn't change, not phased in the least. And it's just like, come on, bro. That's my favorite Ben Simmons moment. That's a side of him I feel like we've never seen before.
And then the Cavs scored 21 straight points.
Yeah, I mean, then we go to what's happening on the court
in
Brooklyn, and the Ben Simmons ship has sailed, unfortunately. But that was the highlight of the year for Ben Simmons in my book.
It will never sail for me. I'm in on Ben Simmons. I really hope he plays well. I only want him to play well against the Celtics. I don't want them to win, obviously. I would like the Celtics to handle their business, and I'll talk about that in a second. But if Ben Simmons plays well, I'd just love to come on here and say, guys, look, I knew it. Like, he can still do it. No, I think Simmons this is a big okay, yeah.
Is a difference maker in this game, and the Celtics lose, I'm going to be so mad.
If you remember in Brooklyn last season, he started to be a difference maker in the first half in one of those games. And then because he was passing up shots, Jacque Vaughn pulled him.
We'll see.
So,
I do think this is a big 2 games for them, right? This is screaming Pistons last game before the All-Star break from 2 years ago. This is screaming just
yeah,
hold firm. Like go to the All-Star break on wins. If they win
Diamond
these next 2
hands,
games, hold. If they win these next 2 games, it'll be a 6-game win streak heading into the All-Star break, which doesn't even feel like anything close to the case, right? Like they've won 4 games in a row right now, and it feels like they've lost at least 2 of them, but they've won them. They've won them. They found ways to win, as Jaylen said after the Wizards game. They just handled the Heat in a pretty good win. You've got 2 games against the Nets team that, for what it's worth, as poorly as they've been playing, they are bad on offense. They're 22 on offense, but they are the 8th best defense in the last 15 games, right? So they're a fine defensive team. They're a team with, if they were good enough on offense, like this is a team that could probably do a pretty good job at guarding the Celtics. You have Mikal Bridges, you have Nick Claxton, you have Cam Johnson. You've got solid defenders up and on the roster. And Simmons, for all his flaws, is a fine defender. But you got to win these 2 games. This is not a good team. You've got to handle your business. This is, it almost feels like an in-between, and that's because they are in between, literally, of the Wizards and the Heat. Like the Heat feel like a team the Celtics want to play well against. And we've seen that. They want to get up against the Heat. They're going to play well. They want to get up against the Knicks. They're going to play well. They want to get up against these teams that they are not rivals with, but that play them hard and are playoff teams. Don't care about the Wizards. Don't care about the Hawks. Don't care about the Grizzlies. But this Nets team is sort of in the middle. So I'm curious to see if they treat them like the Hawks or they treat them like an actual playoff opponent, because they've played the Nets very well. Outside of that one instance Sam's referencing, they've played the Nets very well over the last few years. Is this going to be a let's go into the All-Star break hot and stay poised? Or is this going to be, it's 2 games against the Nets. Do these games really matter? Which, to be clear, outside of the going into the break hot, these games probably don't matter, realistically. But they have to matter. They have to treat them like they matter. And that's the important. Well, not everyone's a psycho. Well, but like in the grand scheme of the playoffs, it's you got to stay focused for this.
Well, so that's why it's so important that the Celtics have taken on the mantra this season of win the day. I mean, we've already discussed it on the show. I'll be quick here. That last season, they looked ahead and they got burned for it. And it was something I wrote about a few times along the way. And so that's one thing. You want to stay true to what your identity has become this season. Also, Kristaps Porzingis is probably not going to play in both of these games. I would think, coming off of the lower back contusion, that he sits Tuesday and plays Wednesday, and Al Horford does the opposite. We'll see how they structure it. You should still beat the Brooklyn Nets. Also, people might not love this, but I would not be opposed to looking at these games and saying, we don't need basically a little page out of the Miami Heat, San Antonio Spurs playbook of we can pace ourselves through this matchup. It could have looked a lot better against Washington, but really all they had to do was crank it up for 1 quarter, and that was good enough to get a win. You would have liked a better 4th to make it more comfortable. Victory is victory. And so against Brooklyn, I don't need 48 minutes of full throttle basketball, but you don't want to do too much of a disservice to yourself, because I'm less concerned about getting a win in Brooklyn in the middle of February before the All-Star break than I am about the ultimate goal. Another reason why Porzingis should not and most likely will not play in both of these contests.
Wear the correct jerseys. Set the tone for a good finish to the season. Like, going to the All-Star break, please be serious. This has been an embarrassing week, to say the very least. It is green jerseys against the Hawks. The city editions against Washington played terrible. Then they wear the white city editions on the road yesterday in Miami, which I know is Miami's fault, but you could still wear the green ones against the black jersey. Mm-hmm. And then, you come in these Nets games, dress for success. That's really all I want to see, especially after what they did to me on Friday. That was terrible.
Yeah, they pump faked you. Do we get the schedules yet? Is Locker Vision go that far? Or is it just?
It probably does, but I don't want to know. I like going on Twitter and finding out that day.
You don't want to know.
No.
Yeah, he likes the surprise.
I like going on Twitter and tweeting about it.
Well, then I wish I didn't spoil it for myself, because now I have to remember not to tell you. But I will not. I will not tell you. Okay. Michael, I'm gonna let Sam lead this question, because Michael Hilly is asking what's more fun to watch, the Super Bowl or Wizards versus Pistons. Sam.
So if you took the same commercials from each event and you pasted them in the breaks, I would rather watch Wizards Pistons. That game rules. Did not care for the Super Bowl itself. It was a good game. It was entertaining. But the commercials are always the highlight. And I'll say this. We talked about this, Jack. There was only one commercial, and I haven't been actively looking, one commercial that I had known what it was beforehand. And it was the John Krasinski, Randall Park, Ryan Reynolds.
There were a couple others that I had seen. Unfortunately, I can't remember which other ones I saw. But best commercial of the night, fellas, and there is a correct answer.
Duncan.
Yeah, I mean they nailed it. That was props to them for that.
All time stuff. Shout out. Bobby, any final thoughts? Anything we missed?
I think we covered it all.
Let me get the cards.
Game time.
Get them out of my backpack.
I was going to say, what is this? I start winning trivia and we stopped doing it?
No. I always ask Bobby if we missed anything. We wanted to cover before we do trivia.
Well, we didn't do it last time.
I know, because I had to go to the game.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Okay, my bad.
But
yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong. It's 3-1 Sam, and I'm fighting to avoid a parade for Mr. LaFrance
3-2.
right now.
3-2. You were up
still on the ropes.
Let me find an adequate
commercial.
Messi was a good.
That was a good commercial.
I enjoyed that
because he's like at the bar and the soccer ball comes over to him and he's like, "Well, I guess I have no choice but to just run the ball through the entire beach.
Just to
like I can't just kick it back. I have to go and humiliate all of these people."
It was also great because like his
his
English isn't great. Like the only words he said, because his English isn't great, is just Michelob. Michelob Ultra, please. That's all he said.
If I'm Michelob, I'm including in the contract some sort of price built in for him to post on social media because he has as many followers as almost everyone. So that's part of the deal with that commercial, Leo.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Ted Lasso.
Shout out. Who was Dan Marino also in that commercial?
He was.
He was.
All right. Sorry, Chad. I am currently trying to find a good.
While you do, what did we think of Usher?
He was great.
That was great. We were fighting. Me and so I was watching it with my buddies in Alston, and some of our friends from home, Sam, you know Danny. Some of our friends from high school texted us and were like, "I thought it was meh." I'm like, "Did you watch it? What do you mean it was meh? That was electric."
I enjoyed it.
I will say, yeah. Please go first.
So my one note is, or so 2 notes. I would have liked more singing from him, and I would have liked longer cuts of each song. I thought the samples of the hits were a little too short, but I think that's more of a Super Bowl directive than an Usher thing. And just like the man is an all-time entertainer. So absolutely shout out to, despite the disagreement of Brian Scalabrine, and he's wrong on this, shout out to an icon in Usher.
Yeah.
Scal, by the way, who is often wrong, but also Usher, final point on him.
Love you, Scal.
Well,
kind of dwarfed himself. Did not look very big next to Alicia Keys. He was shorter.
He's not that tall.
I know.
Not what he brings to the table.
You got to shoot from like the chest up.
Yeah, my 3 things, as Ashton says, he was getting very close to Alicia Keys. And Swiss said he enjoyed it and didn't care. I was like, all I'm saying is the fellows were like, whoa, what are we doing? We'll also say, the way he ended the show made it sound like Justin Bieber was about to come out, and then he didn't. Very upsetting. That was like, come on.
Was like,
I know.
Thought JB was going to come out.
We were all on the same page on that. I also reading the text, by the way.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jaylen Brown.
But I do wish it was JB, and it was good though overall.
Very sweaty.
Do you see what Manu Ginobili tweeted?
No. He said, "I wish I could look like that at 45."
Yeah. All right. Trivia time. Michael Hilly says, "You're giving them free trivia. Give the stream some more likes." We're going to do trivia because it's a staple of the show. But if you'd like to leave a like, we have 8 right now, and we'd like to get that to 20 because there are, in fact, 36 of you watching. So please like the stream. We'd appreciate it. Anyways, let's get to trivia. I have picked a card. There are 8 on the card, so if there is a tie, we will go to another one. But it is a 2-3 series in Sam's favor. Sam won the last one, so Sam will go first. Here's the question. Through 2021, 8 different Celtics have blocked 7 or more shots in a single game. Again, I'll read it again for the chat. Through 2021, 8 different Celtics have blocked 7 or more shots in a single game. Name those 8 players. Sam.
Robert Parrish.
I hate you for taking that one first.
Yes, sir. Robert
You're gonna have
Parrish is
plenty of
correct.
chances. I don't have a whole lot going on upstairs.
This is a tough one. So we'll start with Kevin Garnett.
Correct.
Oh no.
All you, Sam. I am going to change the board a little here just so we get the better coloring here, but maybe
like
it's a filibuster for you.
Trying to think of other people. I'm gonna say Perk.
Kendrick Perkins is correct. Yes.
I think Perk has like the playoff record. I don't know if they count Perk in the playoffs, but I think he had like 10 or something.
I believe it. Bobby?
Bill Russell.
They don't count blocks.
So that's the thing, is that I think he deserves to be on there. I think we all know that he did it. I think we all know that he did it.
They don't count blocks. So I'm gonna have to say no. I'm sorry. We're gonna have to go with no.
It's not on the card, but the card
it's
is
not
wrong.
on the card. Is
the card
correct.
is lying
Yeah.
to you.
It's not on the card, so I apologize, but we're gonna have to go with a no. I am gonna try to put a different background up here so I can see some Talkin C.
Oh, I like that.
Sam, back to you.
Oh boy. It's okay, Bobby. You're gonna get your look back. I'm gonna guess Dave Cowens. Don't know if they counted blocks yet.
No Dave
I like
Cowens.
that guess though.
No Dave Cowens. Back to you,
I'm gonna
Bobby.
turn off the chat on my screen.
Oh yeah, respect. Bobby, what do we got cooking here? There are some ones you should get that are left. I'll say that.
Oh, now we're giving hints.
That's barely a hint. That's just saying, like, you guys should get some of them. Come on.
You say that. Did Robert Williams ever do it?
Yes, he did. Good pick.
Oh, that's a good pick.
Thank you.
All right, Sam, back to you.
I'm going to guess. I'm going to guess Larry Bird.
No Larry Legend on here. Nope. Bobby, throwing it back to you.
There's one I'm so tempted to guess, but I'm not gonna guess it this entire game because it's such a. But I just don't know. He had like a career night. I don't know if he got to 7 though, so I'm gonna keep it in the holster. May have said too much just now, but I will instead guess. Did Paul Silas ever do it?
No, he didn't. Sorry. Sam, back to you. After this round, I'll start giving clues.
I'm sorry, I'm not talking.
It's okay. I mean, this is going to be a video too. The live stream will just have to deal with it.
This is tough. I have some names out there. I'm not certain about any of them, and I feel like it's going to be some of the people I really don't think have done it. So I'm going to guess Antoine Walker.
No Antoine Walker. Sorry. Back to you, Bobby.
Mark Blount.
No Mark Blount. Okay. First clue. 3 of these players that are left are Hall of Famers. So 2 of them deservedly so, and one of them well, all deservedly so, but one is not you would think of. You know what I'm saying?
All right. I'm gonna guess Kevin McHale. I'll just guess it.
Yeah, correct.
I was gonna hold on to it because I've guessed Kevin McHale in this trivia thing a bunch of times, and it's just never him.
Phil was there. Phil had it.
Shout out
Phil was on it. Back to you. While Bobby is guessing, I'm gonna put the question on the screen somewhere so the chat knows what we're guessing.
Just type in the chat and then pull up the message.
Oh yeah, I'll just pin it. You're good call. It is your turn, Bobby, though. I'm just typing, so take your time.
I'm gonna just start firing the ones I'm not sure about.
Might as well get those shots up.
Yeah.
You guys both block the chat, right?
Yeah, I don't have the chat.
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay, good. Because Phil's cooking.
I will go Sam Jones.
No Sammy Jones. Sorry. Sam, back to you. This would be a big one because you would have 4 and you wouldn't be unable to lose.
Oh,
And Bobby could only tie.
Why did you have to say that?
I got to put the pressure on.
All right, I'm gonna guess Al Horford. I don't think it's Al Horford because I think that would have been part of the hint, and I know he's gotten 5, but I can't off the top of my head remember him getting more, and I would remember.
No Al Horford.
Yeah.
Sorry. Respect the guess though.
Had to try.
Mm-hmm. Back to you, Bobby.
Had I not guessed and been wrong, I would have been devastated.
So, for a refresher on the clue / filibuster, there were at the time of the clue, so including the Kale, 3 Hall of Famers left.
There were 4 left. 4 players left, and 3 were Hall of Famers. Yes.
So there are 3 with 2 Hall of Famers.
Correct. Phil, I'll give another clue after this round. Sam went first, so I'm going to give it after Bobby goes. But I will give another clue. I would leave this on the screen, but it does just completely block Bobby's.
It does block Bobby.
So I'm not gonna throw it up there.
This might be a horrible guess because his stint was brief and he was coming off the bench. But Bill Walton.
Yeah.
Correct. Bill Walton is a Hall of Famer. That's the one. Phil had it in the chat. Phil was going for it.
He was a name that stayed in the clip, and I didn't know if he was coming out.
He was in the clip for me too. I'm devastated.
Okay. All right. Here we go. 2 left. 1 is a Hall of Famer. Do we want another clue now, or do we want to wait another?
No, not now. Unless, Sam, if you
damn
really
clue.
want one now, of course we can. But
it's up to
my
y'all.
thought is no.
I'm taking the damn clue.
You guys both have to agree before you get a clue because it's round around. So discuss.
All right. If he wants the clue, we'll go for the clue.
Okay. Let's see. I've got to think of a fair clue. Do you want a clue for one player specifically, or for like?
Yeah, because we already know one of them's a Hall of Famer.
Okay. So do you want a clue for the other one?
Sure.
Yes.
But
not an obvious clue for the record.
I'll give you an.
I have a guess.
Can I give you an era? Is that a fine clue?
Yes.
Yeah.
This player played from the late 90s to early 2010s. And that's the non-Hall of Famer, by the way.
Okay.
Phil's
late
happy. Hell yeah.
Early 2010s.
Phil is a beast. Phil's an OG too.
Man.
He's a legend of the chat.
Now I'm not sure.
Much respect.
I don't know who the other Hall of Famer would be. This is going to be bad if it's wrong. Did Paul Pierce ever get 7+ blocks?
He did not. I respect the guess though. Sometimes you just got to guess some of those. Also, Pierce is he in the Hall of Fame yet? He got in recently.
He got in.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if he just got in. His career high in blocks is 5. So close, but no. To you, Bobby. I'm glad I picked this question. It's a good one. It's a good mix of easy and hard ones.
I keep going back and forth on my focus between the 2 clues.
You guys both have comments off, right?
No.
Yeah, I can't see the
comments are cooking. Comments are. Hey, X check. You are cooking. I'll say that.
Oh,
I was about to bring it up on the screen, then I realized, wait, then they'll be able to see it on the screen. No, Phil, sorry. It is not correct. X check is cooking. That's a tough name to say.
Getting nervous. I have like a couple guesses, and I don't have faith in them. And I'm afraid whichever one I don't guess will be the other one will be right.
Well, you could just get them in back-to-back rounds and just assume Bobby doesn't have them.
Ass out of you and me.
All right. Again, I don't love this guess, but why not? Numbers in the rafters. Oh, actually, nope. Just kidding. I retract. We're not going to guess that. He's not a Hall of Famer. Yikes.
This is a great question. I'm very happy with this round of trivia. This is great.
See, now I find myself with Sam. I'd actually like another clue, but I mean, you've given us more than enough.
I'll give another one after you guess because Sam went first.
Fair. Sam, you're in luck because I don't have an answer, obviously.
I'm so glad I'm reading the questions and not guessing because that'd be tragic.
The 90s to the 2010s.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I am hurt.
This is a really stupid clarifying question, but they did this with the Celtics, not just they did this in their careers.
Yeah. I assume. I'm not absolutely sure, but like, yeah. That's how these cards have gone so far.
Because, like, for example, Theo Ratliff probably did it or might have done it, but yeah, he didn't do it with the Celtics. He didn't really play with the Celtics.
Yeah. No, this is with the Celtics.
With the
If
Celtics,
you pass, I'll give a clue.
I can't pass. I mean, the stakes here are massive. So
I'm just showing this for the chat. This is not the card, so don't try to read it. I'm not cheating. I got these from these Boston cards. Well, it's not even the correct question. I'm just showing the chat the card deck we have. You got some world questions and some Boston questions, so I picked out the basketball ones. Shout out Uncle Dan, chat legend. Bobby, if you'd like to pass, I'll give a clue, or if you'd like to take a shot in the dark, you'll get a clue at the start of the next round.
I'm so stubborn. What is better than not guessing? So it's wrong, but because I'm officially stumped, I will go with Rodney Rogers.
No Rodney Rogers. All right. Phil, no. Michael, yes. All right. I'm going to give you a clue for each of them.
Okay.
Just so we can get cooking. Do you want me to tell you which one the clue is for? Or do you want me to say one player? I'm going to make it. I'll specify later. One player only spent 4 years in the NBA. The other had a 14-year NBA career. And I'll specify which is which. A little bit. So
I wonder which one's the Hall
Adam.
of Famer.
Adam, you need a clue too. There's your clue, Adam. This is here, Adam. I don't know if you saw the question. I'll throw it up in the chat for you. I don't want to block Bobby's face though, but this is the question we're rocking with right now.
Late 90s, early 2010s. They were a Hall of Famer.
I'll give another clue after this round.
Dino Rajda.
Thank you. Bang!
I swear to God, he just came to my mind too at the same time.
I had him, and I have another guess too. And I just realized he definitely did not spend a lot of time in the NBA.
Yeah.
Because he was playing overseas / did get
Shout
in.
out Michael Hilly. Bang! Bobby,
both.
you get
Phil
this, you can tie. Phil
safe.
also got it. Yeah, Phil and Michael are bang in the chat. For what it's worth, Xshek got this, the last one, 5 minutes ago. He was on it. So credit Xshek, beast, in the chat. This is far more fun live, the trivia, I'll say. This is fire. This is a good time.
I'm in hell.
You are. I'm about to see the championships be 1-1. You're about to raise a banner, Sam.
It's true.
I thought the Celtics were going to raise a banner in 2022 in Game 4. I was wrong.
This is great.
I hate that I don't have an answer. I can be like, I know this is right, but I will go with Rafe LaFrentz.
No Rafe LaFrentz.
Oh no,
Sam.
I'm gonna go, and I don't know if this is right. Tony Battie.
It's a banner in the rafters.
I had them both. I had them in the chamber.
Tony Battie. Zekshek had it. He had Tony Battie at 12:07. He got it. And
I was on the rotisserie, like with both of those names in my chamber, and I think I guessed Al Horford instead of either one of them, and I was so worried that they were going to get taken.
Oh, what a round.
I thought of Dino Raja at the same time Sam guessed it.
You guys like the little trick? Sam, you were mocking me, and I played you. I was like, one was played for 14 years, but one was 4 years. And you were like, oh, I wonder which.
Bobby should be nudging these because you did make a face. And it made me think a little bit.
I mean, it should include you both in when I said, I'm not going to tell you which is which. Like,
I'm not going to tell you which is which.
I thought the 4-year I thought the 4-year player was the Hall of Famer for his basketball career overseas. That led me to Raja.
Okay. Well, it was a great round. 1-1 in titles. Everyone's saying hello in the chat. Everyone's saying good job, good job, good job. There we go. Michael.
Sam, you came to my parade. I'll be at yours. You're a classy man. It's an honor to compete against you.
I feel honored to be in the presence of two bright basketball minds. It just happened to be the brightest.
This round.
1-1. 1-1 in titles. Bobby, any thoughts before we get on out of here?
No, I'm devastated.
All right. Thank you to the chat for tuning in for trivia and the stream. We appreciate y'all. Make sure to subscribe. One more trivia. Michael, there'll be another trivia on Wednesday. We'll be live for Talkin C's again Wednesday, so tune on in. Subscribe to How About Them Celtics. We appreciate you. Check out all of Bobby's work at si.com/Celtics, inside the Celtics there. And I'll let Sam wrap it up.
Hey, thank you very much for watching live or listening on the replay there on the channel. We appreciate you guys coming by for sure. It was a blast. Thank you for staying through trivia as Bobby and I fumbled around trying to pull names out of our minds. You can subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any other live streams. We'll be live tomorrow night for the playback and also for pregame a half hour before the game starts. We'll probably have a simulcast on the channel. No, Celtics blog will have so people can watch, I'm pretty sure. So you should be good to watch on Celtics blog. But we have full pods coming out. One's coming out tomorrow, then Thursday and Sunday every single week. Game recaps on the days that there are no pods. Follow Bobby on Twitter at Bobby Krivitsky. Big thanks to him for coming by and hanging out with us 3 times a week. You can find his work on SI Media's Inside the Celtics. Boots on the ground, every home game, some away games. He's at the pressers. He's on the beat. He's got all the info you need. You can also follow us on Spotify and Apple if you want the audio versions of the pods and game recaps. They'll be right there. So leave a 5-star review. Jack would appreciate it. He loves that. You can reach out to us via email, hbtcpod@gmail.com. We read all of your emails. We will be going through the emails later when we do the show. So if you have thoughts on the game yesterday that you want to get in there, you can still get in and we will read them. You can follow us on socials at How About Them C's, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook is just the name of the podcast. We're live there. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Twitter. Jack's Twitter is at JackSmoneNBA. Mine's at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.